Ah, glorious Britain. What an adventure we've been on. Kingsmere is finally coming alive. Following the implementation of our new transport hub, we've piqued the interest of a few investors. These investors are interested in developing the old brownfield site surrounding Queen Victoria Hospital due to its close proximity to our brand new train station. Queen Victoria Hospital, I hear you ask? Well, let me give you a history lesson. Queen Victoria was King Edward's mother, and in 1869, upon Victoria's coronation, one of the largest hospitals in Europe at that time opened right here in Kingsmere. Surrounded by traditional terrace housing, the hospital stood tall and was named the Queen Victoria Hospital. So in this episode, we're going to embark on a journey of building that very hospital, the surrounding areas, and making use of our investors' cash to modernise the area. Welcome to Kingsmere, a UK-inspired town with a sprinkle of my own creativity. In this series, we're focusing on building a British-inspired city from the ground up. We're mixing the UK region pack with a few custom assets to hopefully create somewhere nice to live. So, welcome. As you can probably see at the top of the screen, roughly where Queen Victoria Hospital is or was or will be. So let's jump in. So a few things that I want to draw your attention to initially. If you watched the last episode, you would have seen this fantastic new infrastructure that we have built with our train lines going here, there and everywhere, preparing for the future. And it's looking pretty good. I like the railway hub. There's not much traffic on the road at the minute, but nevertheless it looks pretty decent. We've got a nice sort of area down here, especially with the Syned Cymru building here, which is our kind of town offices, council, where they kind of live. It looks pretty cool. We implemented some transport infrastructure as well, which is really nice. And then off camera I've just added a couple of slip roads. They are only one way, so you can join here and join there. You can't go up and out of the city, but I just thought we might as well add it. We've added a couple of merger lanes as well, just to kind of adjust that slightly to give people more opportunity to move around the city without having to go all the way around these weird sort of routes. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I've made this roundabout slightly smaller as well and changed the layout of it too, which I think looks good. And then obviously the elephant in the room is, what are all of these roads doing? Well, let's talk about Queen Victoria's Hospital. So I've been wanting to create or build the large hospital in the UK pack for quite some time now, and I think we finally kind of got there. And I picked this beautiful spot just here because you get the nice views as you come off from the train station. So you'd come right down here and then you see it straight away. Basically as soon as you come out the doors, you have that view down here. I think it would look really cool to implement it. If you just ignored these zebra crossings, which I can't change by the way, you would have an absolutely cracking view of said hospital. So let's build it. Just imagine that the year is 1869 and our Queen Victoria Hospital, ooh, a bit funky, has just been built. Imagine seeing this mega structure in the year 1869. What a phenomenal building. But that's not it. We have two upgrades for each side, which make this a pretty mega sized hospital. And my lord, is it a beautiful asset. Absolutely fantastic looking asset. That is a hats off moment. Absolutely brilliant. Really like that. And without further ado, we need to rename this to Queen Victoria Hospital, if I can spell it right. Fantastic. And that is really good. And as this is Queen Victoria Hospital, we're having this road renamed as Victoria Road. And then, oh, that's all Ashford Lane. we'll have this as Victoria Lane. These are two weird ones, but we'll just leave them for now. But let's have a little look as if you're coming off and you've just got that big smash in the face. You've got that beautiful view down the slight incline to the hospital, and I think that looks really nice. It's quite a nice building to have there. Now I'm just going to add a few decorations into this a little bit, nothing too crazy, but the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to copy with these bollards, and we're just going to place these bollards just along this section here, because again we don't want any cars coming down here, because why would you? That's not a good day in the office if you've got a car careering down this lovely little footpath. So we're just going to add a few boulders in just like that, so that only foot traffic can use that area. There we go, nice few boulders. I don't know why they feel it's necessary to put these right in the middle of our pathways. It's pretty crazy. I also can't get a zebra crossing to work here either, so people are just going to have to YOLO it and just just get across how they want, which it kind of is what it is. And then a few benches along this side and the other side, just to make it look a little bit nicer. Maybe we'll turn that off. It's never going to be perfect, but it is what it is. There's still a slight decline going down in that area too. So we're just going to whack a few benches down here, so all of the lovely people that are using this can have a little sit and a rest, like so. Really simple, nothing too crazy, just like that. I'm tempted to maybe add a few paths down here. I know it's not quite symmetrical. We're just going to have to pretend that it is, I'm afraid. Maybe we'll add just a few of these little bad boys down along the edge as well, just to make it look a little bit nicer. I know I can use the line tool, but I'm here now, we're committed. I believe we can do this. Just like that. Hopefully make it just look a little bit nicer to be in. And then with this section here, we're simply just going to add a few sort of trees in there. Nothing too crazy, because we've got so much to do. So much to do. So a few trees and then we're on to the next bit. Now the next thing that I want to do in this area is actually quite a rogue choice, but we're going to turn this way and look at this little spot here. And I'm going to change this and I'm going to call it Royal Lane. And it will make sense. It will make sense. I've tried to upgrade or change this to a bus lane. Doesn't really work. Don't know why. Blah, 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 blah. But Royal Lane. Why would we name it Royal Lane? Well, only if the Royal Mail's headquarters was here. Of course. Exactly what you were thinking. So we're going to be having this very large, very nice looking historical post office. And it's going to live just here. Hopefully it will go in there relatively nicely, maybe just a smidge over like that, and that should be okay. We might just move it ever so slightly. Ooh, maybe we'll leave it like that. That's good. And you can actually upgrade this as well by putting a city museum on the back, which again I think looks really fantastic. So I'm happy with that. And we might drag that back ever so slightly just to fill in that gap there, and there we go. And then we're gonna rename this the Royal Mail Headquarters, and this is the Royal Mail Headquarters just off Royal Lane, and I think that's a lovely looking asset. Fantastic, nice kind of historical, same sort of theme as well, which is good, and you can catch a glimpse of it from this sort of section as well. And then we need to do a little bit of decorating down here, make it nice and nice. Is that right? Words, yeah, cool. So we're gonna just decorate this a little bit, add a few things in here, make it look somewhat nice, and then we'll move on. And there we have it, a few minor adjustments, and that looks much better than it did before. We've just gone for a few walls around the outside, a small fountain with a decal underneath, a few places to get a bite to eat. some plant pots, benches, a couple of bins and a couple of food stalls. Nothing too crazy, but it does the job, and that looks so much better already. I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks pretty nice. Good. Right, next, let's try and focus on this bit for a second. I know it's a bit gritty, but with the terrace housing that we are having going on here, it kind of will make sense. But one of the first things I want to do is we're going to have our first moderner, is that a word, moderner? More modern building. This is one of the investors' buildings. They are in charge of this building. They've developed it themselves, which is awesome. Technically, it functions as a school, but I think of it more as kind of an office building, and it kind of fits the theme as well. So this building here is going to fit just on the edge of this highway, and I think it actually fits the theme pretty darn well. And then we're going to grab an upgrade, which will involve this. And then it just adds a little bit of effect to it, and I think it looks quite nice like that. I think that's quite a good building. It's not too high, it's not too tall, it's not too overwhelming. It just kind of sits there and is present. Yeah, there's not much to it. And then right on this edge here, I wanted to actually put a Netherlands water tower just on the corner's edge, just here. Kind of as a old traditional thing, but I still think it kind of fits the theme a little bit. I think that looks perfectly fine there. I don't see an issue with it. Yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad at all. I think that can stay for the time being. We'll probably reconsider at another date, but for the time being I think it looks pretty good. We'll shovel that over just to expose a little bit more of that concrete ground, and then we'll just add a few trees within this section here. Just whack them in there just to cover off a few of the gaps like so. I think that looks not too shabby, not too shabby at all. Good, it's coming along relatively nicely. We shall continue. Okay, so the investors have got their way and added just a couple, or well, I say just a couple, it's double a couple, it's 4 nice, more modernised buildings just to this portion out here, to kind of just give the idea of a little bit of business, maybe a little hotel, something like that. But they're building, and I'd say that the buildings actually look relatively good. This one's a static ploppable. These two I've plopped down both from the blah 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 blah. I picked Find It. I don't know, I just had a meltdown there. And then obviously this one's it's technically a school, but you know, but they're not too overwhelming and they don't look too bad. Just having these there, I think it just works. It kind of fits with that slight modernisation of the area as time has gone by, and it's quite a decent sort of area to have those modern buildings placed in. So I am pretty happy with those. The next thing that I want to do is I want to try and work on this section here. And I think, again, a lot of you are commenting saying that the Netherlands pack will do pretty well with these sort of areas. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find some Netherlands buildings and we're going to pick what we want. And I did have an idea of potentially, it might have been this one, or it might have been this one. To be fair, it could have been any of these, so I don't have a clue. That one seems like it would fit, but is it the right one? Not sure. But this kind of style, just kind of down this strip here, because it kind of matches the rest of it, so that I think that would be a decent sort of idea. And they don't look too modern either. So if I was to do that, maybe that wasn't the right one. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I'm going to try and find these buildings, try and make them work. So I think once we piece all of this together, I think we could be on for a decent looking area. but just getting them right is going to be the main thing for us, because that's a good little building, good little area, and then we just need to kind of try and use those buildings to kind of stretch this out a little bit. I mean, we could do that and then link that together again if we can and make it a proper aura. The problem that we'll have is it will encroach slightly on the road, but to be honest with you, it's not actually too much of a difference, to be honest. Even if we pushed it back ever so slightly, that's actually not encroached too much at all. But that's quite a nice idea, a nice looking building. What's going on with you? Leave me alone. Why don't you like me? That makes sense. Cool, right. I quite like that sort of idea. Having a few buildings like that just along this strip, just to give it a little bit more density, a little bit more going on, and then we'll work the rest of our way around the rest of it as well at some point soon. So I'm just making use of the new platter mod to zone in some areas out here. The kind of plan is to fill in most of the rest of these gaps with a few kind of terraced, typical British housing, just to kind of try and uphold some of the older style of houses that were here. The reason for this is because although, I mean, we're obviously building a British city, but we are running out of certain assets in certain parts, so we're just trying to, where we can, bring the British ones back in, so that we kind of keep that Britishness maintained within here. So that's the kind of idea of what we're doing. Just going to place a few of these so that we're zoned out quite nicely, and then we're going to look at placing some nice British terrace sort of houses within this area. Hopefully platter comes in clutch here. I haven't actually used it much, to be honest with you, so I'm quite excited to see what it's like and what it does. You never know. We'll obviously have a few gaps here and there, which is no problem at all. Right, we want, what size would you want to be? 3 by 3. So really we'd probably want that to, I think maybe a pub here would be quite good. Should we find a pub so that I don't get shouted at in the comments again for not putting enough pubs in? I think that would be the smartest thing for us to do at the moment. Let's have a little look at which pubs. That's alright, that's a little bit bigger. What size are you? It's alright, it just overlaps the footpath slightly, which is a little bit annoying. But maybe just something like that. That one is the Fox Inn pub. And we might even be cheeky and whack a corner pub on here. Because why not? Why not? I'm going to start by zoning out down here. We can find our lovely British terraced housing, which is here. And we're just going to zone these in and see what they look like. Why don't you want to go in there? What's wrong? What is wrong with you? Not sure. Pass. And then we'll do the rest with these ones. Just see how we kind of get on. And then we'll go from there. I don't know what's going on here. They don't seem to want to build there. So maybe we're just going to have to force it. Which is fine. It's fine. We can force it. It's fine. Don't worry. A few varying types of houses there. I'm going to mess around with it a little bit, see what we can kind of come up with, and hopefully all will be well. Okay, so this section's coming along quite nicely actually. I think it's kind of filled in the gaps pretty well. I would say that that's quite a decent sort of area. It's definitely not my finest work, of course, but nevertheless, this actually feels like it's part of the city a bit now, because it actually looks connected up to the rest of it, which is awesome to see. Happy with that. We need to fill in this square here too, so that we get some more growth. I'm undecided on what we're going to do here yet. I think we need to squeeze a park in somewhere, small park, and then probably potentially we're looking at maybe more houses with varying sizes and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's looking all right. It's not too bad, especially from this angle. Nice traditional hospital over there, lined up with a train station, some houses out the back. Not too bad at all. So I'm going to figure out a plan of what we're going to do here. So I'm wanting to try and turn this little central part that we've got over here into just a small kind of park area. So this section around this building and around the Royal Mail. I want to try and just turn it into a little kind of park area. Nothing too crazy at all. Just a nice little area that you could potentially come here, chill out, relax, and catch a bit of sun on the one day every decade that it is sunny in the United Kingdom. So that's kind of the idea. Just a nice looking little park. I might even change the surfaces of these paths too to make it look a little bit cooler. So let's have a little look. Maybe if we like bricked out all of these paths, I think that could potentially be a decent idea. So that's what I'm going to kind of go with. We'll try and brick out all of these paths, and maybe, just maybe, it'll look like quite a nice looking area. So let's do all of this, all of this. All of this. I wonder if I can actually do it all in one. I'm gonna say I probably won't be able to, just given the layout of it all. I think I'm gonna probably have to go back along this way and then hook it all up elsewhere. So we'll do that. That goes up here. Where do we finish or start? Okay, we go there. I think we actually might be able to do it, you know. If I go right here. Oh, light work. Allegedly. We'll see it when we finish. I mean, it's not God's work, I'll tell you that much. However, it is better than it was. We just need to do a little bit of draggy drew here. Like something like that. And then on a few of these corners, just a little bit more love to cover some of the path corners up, the original path corners. Same with a few of these cornering sections. To be honest with you, we probably don't need to worry too much, because we'll just we might adjust these slightly anyway. I wonder if we can put, oh, we can. Let's do this and see what these paths end up looking like. I want this to be quite a unique looking area. So we're going to put some retaining walls around all of these paths, like so. And then once we've done that, we'll cover in. That's strange that that's hooked up like that. That wasn't what I anticipated, but oh, it's kind of fixed itself. Do we want to do it there as well, so that it's all hooked up? I think that's rather unique though. I think that looks quite good. I might drag you out a little bit, just to fill that gap. I think that looks quite alright. That's the right kind of words. And then I'm going to fill in a few of these gaps around the grass areas to make it nice manicured glass, because this is quite a nice park. So we'll do all of that, link that in, It's going to look quite good, I reckon. I think this part's going to look quite nice. I know I've not added many places to sit and chill and all that stuff, but once we add a few bushes and stuff like that, I think it's going to look really nice. Really nice. So I liked that little park so much on the other side that I've actually done the same on each side, and I think it looks pretty good actually. I'm happy with how that kind of looks. Nice traditional sort of buildings mixed with a few parks. Oh no, I missed a bit. What's going on here? Do that and that and that. There you go, you never saw anything. But yeah, I think that area looks pretty good actually. I do like these coloured parks. It kind of matches everything else, which is fantastic. Really nice to see. So yeah, we are coming along. We are getting there. We need to fill out the rest of this space, and then hopefully the progress that we made will show. It should be quite nice. Oh, we've reached 10,000 people now as well, which is pretty cool. 2 people waiting at our massive train station. Fantastic. Great use of our expenses. Fantastic. Right, anyway, I'm gonna start placing some more houses down here, and hopefully making it look a little bit more British. And there we have it. Our new area is certainly looking rather tasteful, and there's plenty of use going on. People are using all the bike and footpaths, which is great. I really do like the way that this has kind of been put together. There's not too much going on. It's kind of somewhat minimal. At the same time, there are unique factors like this beautiful park that we've designed. I really like the look of that, especially with these pathways and stuff. Really fantastic. These little neighbourhoods, just standard neighbourhoods that you have with a variety of different buildings. Obviously the main hospital, the Queen Victoria Hospital, which looks really good, and it's a really nice angle that we've got going on. And then a couple of modern buildings, or more modern, just some investment by our mysterious investors, but they don't look too overpowering. They just kind of fit, and maybe that's kind of an idea for the future, that as time goes on and the city starts to develop and modernise, some buildings like this do pop up here and there. I think that's not too bad of an idea. But yeah, I think we've done alright here. I don't think that's too bad at all. It's looking alright. Looking alright. Next episode, we want to probably work on this because that makes the most sense. But we also need to fill in this gap here too. So we're going to have to do a little bit of planning, figuring out what we're going to do. But nevertheless, I think it's coming together pretty well. That does make it, if we zoom out, it makes it feel a bit more city-like, I think, because now that we've not got this massive green gap, it's a little bit filled in. It certainly looks the part. So yeah, one final thing that we've got to do is just rename this district. I've decided that we're probably just going to call this area Victoria. And it kind of makes sense. To have this district called Victoria, so let's give it a go. So we've gone for the name of Victoria Square. I think that's probably more fitting. So that's another nice additional area. With this area, I've got plans, sneak peek for you loyal supporters that have made it this far in the video, and if you legends made it that far in the last video, you probably know that this is going to be the plan for this area. Something a little bit like that going on. Some sort of, well, you know, all I say is it's coming home. It's coming home. Anyway, if you know what it means, you know what it means. Anyway, perfect. I love the look of this city. I really like the city as a whole as well. It's really coming together. Although we've touched on a few different types of assets from around the world, it still feels British, which is great. And there are plenty of pubs in here, so those of you that are always drinking, just come live here. There's pubs everywhere now. Come live here. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. This series is going wild. It's reaching more people than I could have ever expected, so I thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Good night.